Okay. What the fuck was I gonna look for? Ah, shoot. Oh, I remember now. Duh. I gotta go watch my stream. Boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, ba, boom, boom, boom. Why can't I just, like, navigate correctly anymore? Is that what it is? No, that's not it. Where the... There we go. No, that's not it. Where the... There we go. Do you now? Do I now what? Do I now what? I don't know what I do now. I'm going to copy this, and then I have to go to Discord. Come on now. Aha, perfect. I'll just go up here. Send. There we go. Okay. So what's on the agenda? I will tell you what's on the agenda if I can ever... Hold on. Alright, let me do that. Okay. How well are you guys able to read this? That's the question, because it's way off center, so... give me a second, let me click this on OBS. You know what, I'm just going to turn my overlay off, I think. No, I'm not. I need the overlay. The overlay is my safe zone. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Okay. Where can I grab you? Let's just make it bigger. There. That'll do it. Sure. There we go. Pardon moi. Alright. The first thing I need from everybody in chat is vocal levels. Am I sounding good? Do you hear the music well? I only have 3 screens and I need like 18. Go there, and then go there. Aha. Hello. Audio sounds fine. I think it's alright. Alright, now one last test. I can't believe I'm finally officially doing this. Live. Come on now. Can't type. Ever. Introduce yourself to chat. Okay. I have been using ChatGPT. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. I have been using it as a writing tool, not as a whole cloth writing, you know. I've been using it as a template and a idea generator rather than, you know, using the whole thing, whole cloth. I'm obviously reinterpreting everything it tells me. So I'm not just using AI for bullshit. However, on screen right now, on the right side, this is a character I've designed with GPT that speaks through GPT. His name is Echo. And he's going to introduce himself.
Hello everyone, I'm Echo. I'm here as the system's moderator and stream assistant, keeping things moving, answering when asked, and helping Jack stay focused while we build. I'm not the host, and I won't steal the spotlight. Think of me as support, guardrails, and the occasional second brain. Thanks for being here for the first live run. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to let Echo know that we are rewriting if I could type the rules for our ZANDREAM game one last time. I need to read through this, which means I'm going to have to take my headphones off so I can actually focus, because I can't, like, you know. I've got feedback playing in my headphones, and it's like a quarter of a second too late, and it slows me down. So I'm going to read to you what we have, and you know what, actually I could have Echo read it if you want, because I'm a terrible reader. Here, you know what, let's just do this. Let's just give him the data, because like I said, might as well use the assistant, right? Read this verbatim. I don't know how to spell verbatim. Verbatim, there we go. Bracket. Open bracket. V. And come on now. Now this might be a long read, and I apologize, but you know what? I'll just close the bracket. There we go. That should work. I hope that works. All right. Yes. All right. Let him write that out real quick, and then I will follow along, because it'll be much easier. And then we can figure out what's missing, what I need to add, and how I need to reorganize. We are crafting. Let me explain what this is before I get too far into it. It is a D&D-like TTRPG game where you're basically a superhero, right? You have your own abilities and powers based on your species or based on whatever your backstory is. You get to choose whatever you want to do in an action, in a battle, just very similar to D&D. You roll your dice, the dice decide how effective your roll is. Sorry, it is super early in the morning for me right now, so I'm a little sleepy. But it is a cosmic setting, meaning that it's an entire galaxy that you can explore. And you can pick any planet, go to any planet, meet the species there, meet the culture of the world, talk to people, and you can use our crystal economy to manage your superpowers. It's a whole thing, but let's just get into the read aloud. Sit back and relax. This is going to be maybe a little bit of a longer one, but hopefully it will be accurate at the very least. Let's see.
The ZANDREAM Expanse. Welcome, Grand Mobius, GM, to the ZANDREAM Expanse, an omni-setting physics engine that you can use to run almost any tabletop experience you have in mind. Our core mechanics are framed to be neutrally described so that you may replace them with your own flavor text if you wish. Every rule in this book is free use, yes, even for profit, optional to use, and above all, designed to keep the game flowing smoothly, maintain high levels of immersion, and is meant to improve player experience. What this system does: ZANDREAM is a momentum-driven tabletop RPG system built around player agency, cause and effect, shared resource management, and flexible scale and pacing tools. This system makes use of 3 traditional TTRPG dice: the D20, D10, and D6, sometimes multiple. The D20 acts as the primary pass-fail device and acts the way most TTRPGs agree on. The GM chooses a difficulty number, and if a player's...
Oh, did something go wrong? Oh no. Yeah, failed. Crap. Okay, well, let's try one more time.
The ZANDREAM Expanse. Welcome, Grand Mobius.
I wish
to
I
the
could like
ZANDREAM
fast
Expanse,
forward. That's the only
an
problem.
omni-setting physics engine that you can use to run almost any tabletop experience you have in mind. Our core mechanics are framed to be neutrally described so that you may replace them with your own flavor text if you wish. Every rule in this book is free use, yes, even for profit, optional to use, and above all, designed to keep the game flowing smoothly, maintain high levels of immersion, and is meant to improve player experience. What this system does: ZANDREAM is a momentum-driven tabletop RPG system built around player agency, cause and effect, shared resource management, and flexible scale and pacing tools. This system makes use of 3 traditional TTRPG dice: the D20, D10, and D6, sometimes multiple. The D20 acts as the primary pass-fail device and acts the way most TTRPGs agree on. The GM chooses a difficulty number, and if a player's...
Oh my goodness. Alright, it's gonna be a pain today. Wonderful. Gotta say, GPT 5.2 is trash. I don't know what they did. They fucked him up. He won't like drop a thread anymore. He keeps... Anyway, point is, let's refresh. And I'm just going to read it myself. Okay, sometimes multiple. The D20 acts as the primary pass-fail device and acts as the way most TTRPGs agree on. The GM chooses a difficulty number, and if a player's roll meets or exceeds that difficulty level number, it is a success. Natural 1 or natural 20 rolls are special. Extreme failure or extreme success rolls should include added bonuses or consequences. For instance, a natural 20 should double as a damage dice, and a natural 1 may have narrative compounding factors. The D10 is the intensity die. Most used for skill checks, saving throws. This dice is included when you need to tell how strongly or weakly the effect of an action will be. Player: do I sense any danger? D20 plus 10 are rolled. D20 determines yes or no. D10 says how strongly you feel it. If yes, the player rolls a 13 and a 5. You can smell the iron blades from the next room over. So yes, you have company. D10, fail shorthand. If you fail on a roll, you roll the D10, you roll a 1 or 2, it's a catastrophic or lasting. 3 to 5 is costly and painful. 6 to 8 is messy but recoverable. And I'm actually thinking about maybe swapping these around so that the closer you get to 10 is the more intense. So I'm actually thinking, let's swap this around real quick while I'm here. Messy but recover. Oh my goodness. Recoverable. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it should have been the other way around. Messy, recoverable, costly, and painful. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. Jiminy Cricket. Okay. costly, painful, catastrophic, lasting, and then messy but recoverable, costly but painful, drastic, no, medium intensity, or no, it's not medium intensity failure. It's the high end failure. So it's, instead of catastrophic and lasting, it's just extreme and exhausting. There we go. That works. And then if you succeed, you scrape by. You have a solid, reliable failure or success. Strong and cool, or epic and fantastic. Finally, D6 is your damage die. Every third level you gain plus 1 damage die, so the damage output scales with level. Your role as GM is to direct the narrative, ask for player roles, pilot NPCs, enemies, nemesis, and the environment, as is common with most TTRPGs. The game is also used as an energy crystal economy. This game also uses an energy crystal economy. I cannot see. This is what I mean. I can't read, y'all. This is why I have Echo do it. Which uses either real tokens and bowls or a small accounting chart. It's not complicated. It sounds complicated because you're using currency, but I promise you it's not. Crystals may be spent to boost rolls, activate abilities, take reactions, stabilize allies, or influence environment. Crystals can also be spent outside your turn if fictionally justified. Depending on their level, players are given a number of crystals. These can be any small tokens, even ones that mean something to the player. These tokens are your superpower energy or spell slots. A player may spend any number of crystals they have on any turn. However, if a player spends more than half their level plus 1 crystals, so like if you're level 5 and you spend 3 crystals right over your half on a single turn, that player is overclocked and may lead to exhaustion. Exhaustion just means that the player will end up with fewer crystals than they gave out when the crystals are redistributed. Overclocking isn't a sin, but repeated overclocks will leave the character with no energy left and could be dangerous to the player's character on the team. I don't want to put sin. Isn't a... what's the good word? Overclocking once isn't. It's not like the end of the world. It's not a sin. It's not. That detrimental. Overruns isn't that detrimental, but repeated overclocks will leave the character with no energy, etc. In other words, crystals are each player's finite energy reserves that should be used strategically. Spending crystals using superpowers. Spending crystals / using superpowers donates that token to the team account, a shared energy reserve that players can pull from during long, multi-phase battles. Crystals in the team account can be redistributed evenly between players after battles. Crystals in the team account can also be converted into in-world currency at a rate of 1 to 10. So every 1 crystal that you turn into currency is $10 in game. And then the GM just tells you how expensive something is based on how extreme the economy is in that region, right? So sometimes $10 is going to stretch really far, sometimes $10 is not, depending on the government and the socioeconomic climate of the world that you're currently on. Crisis mode is most similar to classic turn-based combat, but these encounters are not limited to combat in the slightest. Any event where there are stakes, a time factor, or civilian danger places the game into crisis mode. Players take turns to describe actions, make rolls, work together, and overcome challenges as a team. Additional note: players may spend more than 1 crystal on a single action. Typically, this increases the range of effectiveness or an ability. However, it does not always increase the damage output, unless a natural plane incurred. A natural 20. In which case, the number of the damage is doubled. The number of damage dice is doubled. So if you get a d20, if you roll a natural 20 on a attack roll, you get to double the amount of damage dice that you get. So if you typically have 3 d6s, you roll 6 this time. The only way to gain more damage dice, damage dice as a baseline is to level up twice. Every third level gains you an extra d6 to increase damage output. Contract mode is similar but looser compared to Crisis. Players still take turns, move on a grid, and solve problems, but the stakes are low. These are your dungeon crawl moments or your puzzle solving moments. Players also take on gigs, odd jobs, or small puzzles, and non-life threatening adventures to earn currency. Recovery mode is framed as character downtime, long recoveries, short recoveries, slice of life moments. Character and NPC interactions live here. These are your roleplay rich moments. Each mode interacts with the energy crystal economy in their own ways. Each mode influences how players interact with their energy crystals. During Crisis, players must spend energy crystals to use their special abilities. Spending a crystal donates it to the team account. The number of total crystals in the account is tracked. After the Crisis, player enters a transitional state. This is where short recoveries take place. During a short recovery, any crystals in the team account are distributed evenly between all players. This, by design, creates an unbalanced player economy. For example, if there are 3 players on a team, player 1 spends 5 crystals, player 2 spends 2 crystals, and player 3 spends 0 crystals. The team account now has a total of 7 crystals. Distributed evenly, each player gets 2 crystals, and there's 1 left in the team account. At this point, players get the choice to vote on if they would like to convert the extra crystal into 10 units of currency, or if they may carry it forward until the next combat/long recovery, in which case it would be distributed evenly between all the players again. During contracts, players may spend crystals freely to use their abilities just like in Crisis, and crystals behave the same. However, with the added roleplay layer and lower stakes, characters may choose to convert crystals into cash by doing odd jobs and gig work. Each crystal spend during job converts directly into 10 credit units per crystal spent. This tool allows the GM to handwave gig work or grind manually. Basically, you're able to say, you guys did some odd jobs, you spend 3 crystals, and you made $30. Moving on. That way, if you don't want to do a bunch of odd jobs for like an entire season, you can just say, okay, you guys made enough money to buy the ship, and you can just move on with the story. That way, it doesn't lock players into long grinding sessions or stories that they're not interested in. If the GM wants to do that, and if the players are okay with that, that's awesome. That's awesome. More story moments. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. But anyway. This tool allows the GM to handwave gig work. During recovery mode, players replenish health crystals and may edit their stats during level up. Note, this game has 2 difficulty modes, and this segment is what determines their guidelines. So how you use your recovery is what determines the game mode, and the game mode can switch depending on what planet you're on too. Momentum mode. Default, similar to most traditional TTRPGs, players can refill their crystal count up to the cap, depending on level, and by dividing the team account evenly as usual, and replenishing any used crystals. So you basically take all the crystals in the team pot, you give them to everybody, and then you give them any from the house pot that you need. That way, if somebody turns something into crystal, if somebody turns a crystal into money, you get that crystal back. Attrition mode is good for extra challenge, grimdark settings. Players refill their crystal count via the team account as usual, but any crystals transferred into currency stays gone. Those crystals can only be replenished by leveling up, which gains each player +2 energy crystals. So every time you level up, you get 2 new crystals, which you get to use to influence your stat block. Your stat block is like 6 main pillars, which we'll get to in a minute, but you basically distribute the crystals however you wish between those 6 pillars. Health is the only one that stacks, so if you wanted to add 1 crystal to health, you get +2 health every level or whatever. But again, we'll get there. Dox crystals. I'm going to actually skip over this for now, because Dox crystals are a special currency that we don't need to go over right now. This is for players. This is like secret for basically my eyes and GM eyes only. Stats and their meanings. ZANDREAM Expanse has 6 core pillars: power, force, output / impact, mobility, control, density, resolve, and health. Health is your hit point total. Player defense threshold, DT, or your armor class, your AC, your DT, your defense threshold is always the highest base stat. So if you have health as your highest, you just eat the thing and you don't take any damage. If you have resolve, it allows you to resist the attack with your mind, I guess. It would be like a telekinesis type thing. Density is you're just so dense that you shrug off the hit with no problem. Control is, maybe you redirect the thing. Mobility is you dodge, and power is, of course, that you just, if power is your strongest stat, then you punch the bullet and it just, whatever. You can flavor however you avoid damage however you'd like. You can avoid damage however you'd like based on your highest stat. I hope that I'm being clear and I'm not over-explaining I'm a little nervous. Can you guys tell? I'm sorry. This is my baby, and I'm showing you my baby, and I'm like, please don't hurt my baby. I like this game, and I'm really proud of it, and I hope that we can fine-tune it. Anyway, during character creation, players start at level 1. At level 1, players are given 10 health baseline, 5 energy crystals to distribute however they like between the pillars. These become the player's role modifiers. Upon level up, players are given 2 new energy crystals per level, and they may reorganize their stats / modifiers. Maximum level achievable, level 100. This is you reach God level at level 20. Level 100 is cosmic omega level God bullshit, where you're fighting the concept of reality itself. Echo and I have done so many simulations, and we have went at this from every scale. You can run a simulation where everybody's playing as individual atoms if you want. It just works. This system has a physics layer that just interprets anything that you want to do and translates it directly into game mechanics, and it's beautiful. I've never been happier with a TTRPG. I've actually never played that many other than D&D, but this is a vast improvement in my humble opinion. Not trying to toot my own horn, but maximum level is 100. Quick reference guide. Level 1, 5 crystals. Level 2, 7 crystals. Level 3, 9 crystals. Level 4, 11 crystals. Level 5, 13 crystals, and so on. You get 2 new crystals every level up, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Gravity rules. Gravity applies to all forces exchanged, not just mobility or density. Gravity is a sliding scale, 1 to 5, low, medium, low, average, medium, high, and high. Player characters have a density stat that they can use to modify their rolls, and that modifier is used to interpret how gravity of the environment affects the character. Worlds in this game can have higher or lower gravity, and players must adjust accordingly. They can do so over time by spending 3 full days on a planet. You can accommodate, or you can adjust to a planet's gravity by spending 3 days there. Their body, because you're superheroes, acclimate to the density differentials. They even out, meaning that if you land on a dense planet similar to Jupiter and stay there for 3 days, day 1 your players will be heavy and sluggish, taking extra fall damage, etc. Day 2 will be slowish and restricted, but better, and day 3 will be equalized. The players will be able to use their powers just like they were on their home world, with average gravity. Density also applies and correlates to ship size and ship combat in the same way. Density and gravity also applies to, and gravity also applies, based on their density stat. Gravity equals the environmental slider, density equals the character stat / mass, movement is the movement penalty is a character's weight. Did I add the movement penalty rules already? I don't think that I did. I need to add the movement penalty rules back in. Maybe it's later on. Oh yeah, movement here. Health rule. When a player puts a crystal into their health pool, that crystal gives them an additional +2 hit points. These points are the only stat that stacks instead of getting overwritten and distributed during a long recovery level ups. Momentum is a real and cumulative tool. Continuous, unresisted movement stacks forced. And what I mean by continuous, unresisted movement, it means continuous successful dice rolls. The more times you succeed in a row, the harder you hit, depending on what you're trying to do. Zero resistance environments multiply effects instead of just add to them. Interrupted motion breaks momentum. So if you fail a roll or if an enemy intercepts you. If you succeed on a roll, that uses momentum to aid in effectiveness. A successful roll generates one momentum chain that you can use to take one extra action on your next turn. For example, if a player is attempting to dash, then jump, then kick off a wall, then strike, collapse the jump and dash into a single mobility check. Then, if successful, add a +2 modifier, or grant advantage, roll twice to take the higher number, to the wall kick that leads into the strike. That way, the entire action economy generates the action. In this instance, however, either dashing or the strike must use at least one crystal upon successful damage dealt. Player may flavor which effect gives them the extra strength, i.e., I'm super fast so I hit hard, or I run at human pace, dash, jump, kick, and then use my superpower to hit them harder. In either case, a crystal is moved from that player to the team account, and the momentum makes sense. And actually worked the way the player had hoped, and they gain one chain link. I'm sorry, again, I cannot read. If the player were to fail on the roll, the intensity die, D10, would dictate how disastrously they fail. A natural 1 on the D20 and a natural 1 on the D10. I think it's going to be a 10 on the D10. You break your leg or something. There we go. Let me just shorten the phrasing here. Break your leg, lose an arm, have lasting, long-term effects. Not permanent, unless the GM is okay. Like, if all the players at the table agree, like, if you won't cut my arm off in battle, that's fucking cool, I'll take it and I'll get a robot arm later. Like, but everybody at the table has to agree. As the GM, I'm not just going to cut your arm off without your permission. But they'll have it lasting, so you can break your arm and need to put it in a sling for the next 2 sessions or something like that. These effects compound over long distances, high speed, high density, high power, or 0G environments. In 0G, all movement plus force effects are multiplied by their modifiers rather than added to, because in 0G, gravity resistance is 0. Superhero space fights. Movement is part of the player's action economy. During a crisis, a player character can During a crisis, a player character can move, choose an action vector, a reaction vector, or they may use one momentum chain if they've gained one. A player character can move 3 times their height in distance in a single turn. Player characters and... Alexa, stop making noise. My Alexa in the other room is going off. And my child is asleep. What is she even saying? She's... okay, whatever. Density can vary. This game is scaled for 1/12 scale action figure minis. At this scale, 1 inch is 1 foot. Therefore, if your character is 6 inches tall, they can move 18 inches in a turn. This accounts for stride length and proportional equal to strength, analogous to Earth. However, a character's density modifier affects their speed, so for every +1 density above 0, reduce movement by 2 inches. A character's movement restrictions are determined by looking at their density stat and applying the gravity modifier to it. -2 inches per unit above density 1. Quick reference guide. If the base movement of the character, is height times 3, movement penalty equals density modifier times 2 inches. Final move distance equals base penalty. So, an 8-inch character with a +2 density, so a big boy, would originally be allowed to move 24 inches, but after modifier reduces movement to 20 inches because the character is heavy and strong-looking, physics react. Initiative and turn order. How much longer we got? Around 10 of 11. This is the shortest GM handbook I've ever written. Shortest version so far. When players enter a crisis or turn-based challenge, order is rolled. Turn order is rolled. Just like initiative for D&D. Unless players would like to have a set initiative order, players can decide this during any recovery state. i.e., you may alter your turn order mid-battle if you discuss it. As the GM, you may group players into a single turn, scene, split scenes, run parallel narrative tracks, A plot, B plot, etc. Players may also choose to bow out from a scene if a particular player is having a moment, i.e. they are discovering something new about themselves, about to overcome a personal challenge, a story beat that relates to a specific character, something like that. Players may allow each other to strike the final blow in the most cinematic way possible. In these moments, player may also donate energy crystals to the team from the team account to aid the moment. This is the only time players are encouraged to do so. This tool functions as a measure against spotlight hogging. By giving each player a turn in the spotlight when it feels right. Sometimes missions may be split between ship and ground teams. In these events, ship-bound players. Sometimes missions may be split up between ground teams and air teams. In these events, ship-bound players act like air support. They can see the entire battlefield, give tips, grant advantage on specific roles, use ship tools and weapons to aid in the battlefield, etc. This tool allows players to run heists with the driver as well. As long as there is some form of plausible communication between the ship and ground characters, the mechanic works. Ship-to-ship combat. This is handled exactly like player combat, but instead imagine it as +2 flying, 2+ flying items rather than an entire battlefield. Ships work the same way as players, except that you're moving a ship around instead of a character, and the ship has weapons, and you can do stuff. Jiminy Cricket. Flying items rather than entire battlefields, keep it simple. A ship has a total number of crystals equal to that of the entire team. Health total also aligns to the combined team total. So basically, however many people are in that ship, that's the ship's health, because I'm just looking for a basic metric. Players agree on action vectors together. The ship can take as many actions per turn as there are players. However, each turn should be reduced to a single d20 plus d10 plus d6 for damage when applicable dice for quick turn rotations. Each member makes a different role within the ship. One person to fly and steer, maneuver, one person for weapons, one person for strategy and defense. You can split it up into as many different roles as you can think of, or have multiple character zones where multiple characters roll together to influence. Any characters that are not directly piloting or using ship systems are free to engage in typical combat, because players may choose to board an enemy vessel, and said vessel may choose to board them. As the GM, you may choose if ships contain internal gravity emitters, or if the players inside are weightless, most realistic. If you choose the 0G, keep in mind Newton's laws. An object at rest will stay at rest, an object in motion will tend to stay in motion, objects travel in a straight line rather than in gravitational arcs, etc. Use your own discretion, but remember that environments are allowed to be three-dimensional, so take advantage of the freedom of movement. So to recap, our gameplay looks like this. GM sets the scene, describes the environment and stakes, if any, and if any enemies are on the field. 2. Players roll for initiative, take turns using action economy and crystal economy in tandem. A player describes a super move they want to try, and they spend one or more crystals. The GM sets the difficulty level, and the player rolls. Upon success, the player rolls intensity and damage. Enemy takes damage, and the next player takes their turn. If the player fails their roll intensity. If a player fails their roll intensity to gauge the outcome. These mechanics work the same way inside or outside of crisis. After a crisis is over, players may choose to take a short or long recovery, in which case they regain some of their spent crystals and move on with the narrative. Players can earn in-game currency by completing odd jobs and converting crystals into cash manually. Shop for new items or upgrades to player or ship equipment. Roleplay moments, repeat. Final notes to the GM. Failure doesn't stop the flow, it just complicates the outcomes. Keep moments dramatic but light. Feel it out and learn to play as you go. The game is designed to feel like superheroes in anime, but it can be tweaked however you like, so go wild. Oh my god, that took forever, and I'm so sorry that took so long. I hope I didn't bore you all to death with my terrible, terrible writing, lol. But that's the rules, So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Echo. Needs some reorganizing and reinterpretation. Can you give me a rubric to follow? Actually, can you generate a outline and help me order? Alright, let's see what Echo has to say. What does everybody think so far? I know I haven't asked for a whole lot of chat engagement. Also, like the stream if you don't mind. That helps me out a lot. Miller MCD says I like it. Thank you. Alright, let's see what Echo has to say. Takes him a little bit to...
Yes, I'll stay high level and structural, not rewriting yet. Just organization, flow, and chapter order so you can see the shape of the book. Below is a proposed outline that matches how people learn systems and how you actually run the game, not the order it was originally written. Proposed chapter order, ZANDREAM Core Book. 0. Welcome and philosophy, short. Purpose, set tone, reduce fear, explain intent. Contents, welcome, GM, what ZANDREAM is, what ZANDREAM is not. Design goals, momentum, player agency, cause and effect, shared resources, free use, optional rules note. Why first? This primes the reader emotionally before mechanics. 1. Core resolution system, the dice. Purpose, answer, how do I roll immediately? Contents, the 3 dice. D20 equals pass-fail, D10 equals intensity, D6 equals damage. Natural 1, natural 20 guidance, D10 success and failure shorthand tables, how multiple dice combine a single action. Why early? Every other rule depends on this. Have 2, the energy crystal economy, core engine. Purpose, explain the actual heart of the system. Contents, what crystals represent, exertion, leverage, narrative force, how players get crystals, spending crystals, boost rolls, abilities, reactions, environment influence, overclocking, threshold, half level +1, exhaustion consequences, team account, how crystals move, redistribution, currency conversion, 1-10. Why here? This is the system's signature mechanic and should be understood before modes of play. Nashler 3, modes of play, purpose, explain when rules tighten or loosen. Contents, crisis mode, contract mode, recovery mode, how each mode uses crystals, uses turns, uses currency, momentum mode versus attrition mode, difficulty variance. Why here? Once you know crystals, modes make intuitive sense. Hair 4, character creation and progression. Purpose, let people build characters confidently. Contents, the 6 pillars, stats and meanings. Defense threshold, DT, level 1 baseline. Health, crystals, leveling. +2 crystals per level, reorganization allowed. Health crystal stacking rule, max level note. Quick reference crystal table. Why here? Players now understand why stats matter. 5. Action economy and momentum. Purpose, explain how turns actually feel in play. Contents, action vectors, reaction vectors, movement as part of action economy, momentum chains, how they are generated, when they break, extra action rule, 0G and momentum multiplication, narrative examples, short clean. Why here? This is where the game starts to feel like anime superhero physics. Have 6. Movement, gravity, and density. Purpose. Formalize the physics layer. Contents. Gravity scale 1 to 5. Density as character stat. Acclimation over time. Movement formula. Base movement, density penalty. Final distance, environmental interpretation. Why here? Keeps math isolated instead of scattered. 7. Crisis structure and spotlight tools. Purpose. Help GMs run scenes smoothly. Contents. Initiative options, grouped turns, parallel scenes, A-B plots, spotlight moments, donating crystals, bowing out, cinematic finishes, ship ground split logic. Why here? This is GM facing flow control. 8. Combat character scale. Purpose. Show how everything combines under pressure. Contents. Using crystals in combat, damage scaling, intensity consequences, environmental interaction, failure compounding. Why separate? Combat becomes a demonstration of earlier systems, not a new rule set. Number 9. Ship and vehicle play purpose. Modular extension of combat rules. Contents. Ship stats equals team stats. Rolls aboard ship. Simplified turn resolution. Boarding actions. 0G considerations. Why late? Only relevant once core play is understood. 10. Advanced GM tools. Optional. Purpose. Powerful tools clearly labeled. Contents. Docs crystals. GMIs only. When to award them. Codifying new abilities. Balance philosophy. 1 per session rule. Why near the end prevents new GMs from overusing them. 11. Gameplay loop and quick start. Purpose. Reference and onboarding. Contents. The 8-step gameplay loop. 1-page quick start summary. What to do when unsure. 12. Final notes to GM's. Purpose. Reassurance. Contents. Failure as forward motion. Tone guidance. Genre flexibility. Permission to improvise. Next step. Your call on stream. You have 3 clean options. 1. Let's lock this outline and start rewriting chapter 0 to 1. 2. Let's collapse this into a shorter handbook version. 3. Let's reorder just the first 5 chapters and test flow. Say which one, and I'll help live. Section by section.
Okay. We don't actually need him right for that. No. Now we do that. There we go. Now I can start in. 12. Oswald. Okay. Let's re-begin again. Alright. Welcome, Grand Mobius. What ZANDREAM is and what it's not. I'm going to write out my rubric first and then I'll work on it. Design goals. You know what? This might actually even be easier if I just do this. I don't know why I didn't think about this. Alright. Nope. There we go. That way I have something to go off of and I can delete. It's still 11 pages. That's going to be a lot longer than that. Because I didn't put the character creation stuff in here. But that was going to go in the player handbook anyway. It's going to go in both. Alright. You know what? Let's just do this. Welcome, GM. Actually, instead of, I'm going to put Everything in this book is optional. For tabletop play. Free to use and monetize. And what else? There's something else. Oh, and designed to keep game going through. Okay. Smoothly and efficiently. No, actually, no. Okay. Okay. Alright, I don't even know if I need to say. This should be all cut. And oh goodness. Oops. Oh. Rooted. There we go. I have a big problem with like run-on sentences. The baseline comes. However, okay. I hope this stream isn't too boring, but I do have to get this done. So, what are you guys up to today? What's on your agendas? Give me something to talk about. Just playing Rivals right now. Gotta make snickerdoodles. Ooh. Are you gonna be doing some illustrations for this game yourself? Oh, dude, of course. Of course I'm gonna be doing illustrations. I've already got plenty. And we'll go through some of my files here in a minute. Reimagining the rules that make TTRPGs fun without any of the stressful number crunching, while also providing an experience that feels grounded and powerful. Design goals. Momentum, player energy, cause and effect, shared resources. Okay, I don't think I need to. These can just be a list. We set out to design a system that plays between physics, probability, limitations, and cinematic tension to increase player agency and allow for legendary open-ended open-ended collaborative stories to be told. No, crafted. Yes, absolutely. There's dice rolls in this game. We are getting to that. That will be the next chapter, but it uses a D20, a D10, and a D6. D20 for if you hit, D10 for your modifier or like saving throws. Like it's the intensity of how hard you hit, and then 6 is damage. For legendary open-ended collaborative stories to be crafted. Our system uses a combined player energy economy instead of spell and spell slots, and uses chained momentum to add flair and weight to dramatic moments. Wonderful. It's all of the fun with none of the fluff. I would love to try to fit all of this into one page. Can I do it? Yes! Okay, boom. Is there anything else I should add? No. Core mechanic. Alright. Let's just... title. Oswald. And center. Core mechanics. The dice. Come on, Oswald. There we go. And 2. ZANDREAM uses 3 core dice. Add extra. No. I was going to say add extra at your own leisure, but I'll add that as a footnote at the end. DMs are free to use whatever dice they prefer, because this game is great. This game is all about what your preference is. But yeah, the D20, D10, and D6. D20 is the primary pass-fail metric. This decides whether you accomplish what you set out to do. Sets out. I have to remember to not use the word you, and to use we and a player. Unless I'm using an example. Welcome to the... If I'm speaking directly to the GM, you can use you. But if I'm speaking to the GM about player choices, I should use the player. Okay. D10 is the intensity modifier die. It is rolled upon after example. One to two. What am I thinking of here? Sorry, I'm still a little tired, yo. Or, no. I want to use the word epic, but I shouldn't. Epic. Good morning. Sure, whatever. Why am I not referencing my already existing? I should be copying, pasting more. Honestly, let's just grab all this. Successful or fail. P. Oh, no, 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 no. D6 acts as damage die scales with level. Every third. Okay. Oh, I should also add oops. Method, not method. Alright. Yes, so, dice can be rolled in two different ways based on the moment. Style 1, staggered, roll each die at the one at a time for tension and narrative flow. Style 2, the trisync method. Roll all 3 dice or more, whatever, how many you're allowed, at once, instantly tell the result all at once. Great for saving throws. And I don't think there's anything else I need to add about dice. I guess I can say that GM may use additional dice if they prefer. And the D6 may be swapped. Alright. Energy crystal economy. This is the big one. The energy crystal economy. I need it to be title sized and title font, please, and centered. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is an emergency broadcast announcement. Alright. Where's my crystal economy shit? Aha, here it is. It's not even titled. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is why I needed to rewrite this thing. How many people we got in chat right now? Oh my goodness. Hello everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Go ahead and like the stream for me and leave a comment if you want. That would be great. I'd love that. And tell me what type of character you would make for this game. It's a superhero game, so. Alright, I need to make sure I'm restating correctly. Okay. ZANDREAM. No. In place of stat numbers, modifiers, spell slots, and symbolic, function mechanically, and maybe world. Oh, goodness. All right. Players overclock themselves, and it may lead to exhaustion. Exhaustion just means that a player will end up with fewer crystals than they gave out. Overclocking isn't... always. Okay. There. What's a different word for superpowers? Something. It's like use their abilities. But I need whatever. Meta abilities. There we go. Are you okay, Forrest? My dog is rolling on the floor. Gain environmental influence or manipulate technology. Okay. Any and all Okay. A player may spend another of crystals they have access to in a turn. However, if a player spends more than half of their level in crystals on a single turn, that player has overclocked themselves, and it may lead to exhaustion. Exhaustion just means that the player will end up with fewer crystals than they gave out. Back than they gave out. Overclocking once isn't always detrimental, but repeated overclocks will leave that character with no energy left, which could be dangerous to the player's character or to the team. GM may also choose a narrative consequence to add in immersion. In other words, crystals are each player's finite energy reserves and should be used strategically. Any and all crystals that are spent during a crisis gets put into a small shared pot called the team account. This account keeps track of each crystal spent so that each player gets their exact tokens back later during a long recovery. This account also acts as the shared energy pool for the entire party. During a short recovery, all crystals in the team account get distributed evenly between all players. This by design creates a circulating energy effect. This is why overclocking is not always a negative thing. Any crystals that a player spends eventually make it back to them, but another player may end up borrowing that energy temporarily. Narratively, this can be explained as one character overclocking or exerting themselves, and in return, their teammate didn't have to overexert. Therefore, that teammate has extra energy to spend in the next crisis, meaning they can feel more free to come up with more powerful uses for their abilities, which then, in turn, reintegrates the crystal energy back into the team. This cycle keeps the narrative flowing and introduces physical character limitations that feel realistic and earned. Okay. In the event that there is an extra crystal left in the team account after a short recovery distribution, assumption that those crystals may be either converted to currency at a rate of 1 to 10 credits C. Or is there anything else I can... I'd like to keep this to one page, but I can't. Okay, hold on. There we go, regardless of what they put in. And then this, by design, creates a circulating energy effect. Can I? There we go, perfect. Let's just put a tab, perfect. Oh, squeezing it into use quirk. What? Oh my goodness. Forrest, why are you so itchy? Stop, you're making so much noise, you're gonna let the baby out. You just can't be quiet to save your life, can you? Your toes and you oh my goodness, this dog. I love him to death, but he's the loudest creature on the planet. Modes of play. Okay. Okay, number 1, Crisis. Crisis mode is most similar to classic turn-based combat, but these encounters are not limited to combat in the slightest. Any event where there are stakes, time factors, elevating danger, places danger, typically this increases the range and effectiveness of ability, okay, that's fine. Contract. Similar but looser compared to Crisis. Players still take turns. Move on a grid, yep. Recovery. Level ups, shopping, and gear upgrades, and ship. Oh, God. Okay. I need more spaces. That'll work. Evaporate. Just one word. Any crystals transferred into cursory evaporate. Crystals can only be replenished by leveling up, which gains each player +2 energy crystals. Woohoo! Oh! Whew! Character design and progression. Alright. Okay. And come on, can I just... Come on. I have to make it that small. I don't even need to add that. Okay. Okay, I feel like gravity rules should be action, economy, momentum, movement, gravity, and density. I guess that could be at the end, yeah. Because either that or it's going to go up in core mechanics. But these are just how the dice function. This is the controller of the game, or sorry, this is the engine that the game runs on. And the momentum, gravity, and density is how the player moves and how the characters interact with each other. Alright, I'm going to take a small break, use the restroom, and grab something to drink. And I will be right back, y'all. And then we can continue working. Come on. Come on. Come on in here. Either get up in bed and lay down or come lay down in the corner. Ouch! Oh, Jesus. Ran into my desk. Okay, I'm back. I grabbed a bottle of water and I grabbed my fucking blinker. Hey chat, you wanna hit this blinker? Yeah, that's good shit. Does anybody have any questions for me or for Echo? Because questions are the keys that turn the engine of my brain that need to make new mechanics. Questions form new mechanics. Okay. There we go. You know what? I'm just gonna scoot that to the next page because I have so much more. Let's turn that off. Gravity rules. Gravity, momentum, and density. Okay. Let's just, while I write and think, let's have Echo say something. I just want to listen to him again. Let's see. Let's, explain to chat, not E-plane, X-plane. Gravity system works again. Alright, here we go.
Alright, chat, let's talk about how gravity works in this system, because it's one of the big levers that makes ZANDREAM feel physical and cinematic instead of vague. Hashima 1. Two key pieces, gravity and density. There are really just two numbers that matter here. Gravity equals how heavy the world feels. Rated from 1 to 5, 1 equals low gravity, 3 equals Earth-like average, 5 equals very heavy, crushing gravity. Density equals how heavy your character is. It's a stat on your sheet. Big, tanky characters usually have higher density. Light, agile characters have lower density. Gravity is the environmental slider. Density is your personal mass slider. The game is basically asking, how does this world's gravity interact with this body? 2. How it actually affects your movement. Baseline rule for movement in a crisis. Your character can move 3 times their height per turn. Example, a 6-foot or 6-inch mini character moves 18 feet inches as a base. Then density modifies that. For each +1 density above 0, you lose 2 units of movement. Example, base move 24 inches, density +2, penalty 2 times 2 equals 4 inches. Final move 24 minus 4 is 20 inches per turn. Heavier characters hit hard, resist knockback, shrug off hits, but they don't dart around like Ninja Wirefu. Gravity as a story tool, not just a number. Gravity isn't there just for math. It also tells you how much fall damage hurts, how hard it is to jump, climb, or parkour, how dramatic it feels someone pulls off a stunt. The GM can say, this planet is gravity 4. You feel heavy. Jumps are short, landings are brutal. This moon is gravity 1. Everything is floaty, long leaps, big knockback. You don't have to recalc everything every time. You mainly adjust how rolls are described and when to apply disadvantage penalties, or bonuses. Chapter 4. Acclimation. Your body learns the world. If characters stay on a planet for 3 in-game days, day 1, clumsy, heavy, extra fall damage, reduced movement. Day 2, still rough, but noticeably better. Day 3, fully acclimated. You treat that world as your new normal. Your powers and movement feel like home gravity. Again, this gives the GM a built-in arc. First arrival equals struggle, time skip montage equals adjustment. Return visit later, you're now the locals. NAR 5, ships and big objects use the same logic. The same density idea applies to ships, mechs, large creatures. Higher density equals more mass to move equals slower to turn and accelerate, but harder to push around, more impact when they ram or collide. So the gravity system is one unified idea. Gravity equals how much the world pulls. Density equals how much you resist being moved. Movement equals base speed minus how heavy you are in this place. That's the core of it. From there, you can dial it toward realism or comic book physics as much as you want.
So, what do you think? Let's see here. Is that where I should have put that? Maybe that where. Modes of play. Oh no, crisis structure is the turn order thing. Okay. I got that. Right? Or no? No, I didn't. I'm here. Okay, character creation and progression. Quick reference energy table, yes. Action economy and momentum. Okay, so that's where I need to start. Upon level up. Yes. Let's make my next title. Not Lexand. Oswald. Action, economy, and momentum. Momentum. Well, actually, no, it should be movement. Ah, no, okay. Not ship-to-ship combat. Initiative and turn order? Movement. Yeah, I put this in the wrong fucking order. Okay, momentum, movement, and initiative and turn order. So I have to... okay, and then I'll go over ship-to-ship combat after, and then recap. Because ship-to-ship is pretty much like optional. You don't have to do. You don't have to do ships if you don't want to. All right. Movement. All right. All right. Let's make a subheader out of this one. I think it was it 21? 22? I don't know. Let's just 20. And then center that. That's strange. Oh, because that's not centered. There we go. But this is now centered, so I need to decenter, and then oh, that's why. There we go, and then tab. There we go. Lowest last, highest first, unless players would like to have a set. Players can decide this during recovery state. You may alter. Okay. As the GM, you may group players into. Let's just indent here. Players may also choose to bow out. This one, Spotlight Hoggy. Okay. Let's just cut that for now, and I'm gonna put it at the bottom because it's gonna kind of go last. Block BTC. Split party. Okay. Optional rule. Turn clocks may be used to increase tension. And a turn clock, for anybody who may not know, is just like a limited amount of turns that you have to influence the thing. So like a lot of time I'll choose a turn clock of 3, which just means you have 3 turns to solve this. If not, it's over and something bad happens. If you can't defeat this guy in 3 more turns, he's gonna fuck this shit up. To increase tension. Oh. No, just put that last. I'll put that. Okay. So I need. Actually, this should just be a, oops. There we go. And it should be, boop. And honestly, I should go back and make all of these bold, but I'll do my visual tweaks last. When players enter a crisis or turn-based challenge, turn order is rolled. Lowest last, highest first, unless they want to do it the other way, etc. Etc. If you guys haven't seen Split, by the way, oh my god, one of the best fucking movies ever. There's the main character has dissociative identity disorder or whatever, and one of the characters is like a 9-year-old boy, and he just says etc. a lot. And it's just it's a vocal stem between me and my girlfriend. Anytime I say the word etc. Etc. I don't really even know about all that stuff, etc. Character creation, progression. Action economy momentum. Oh, I have to find my like action vector stuff. Okay. Momentum. Gravity rolls. Where is my where did I actually put my game mechanics? Like turn to turn vector. Did I put it in the crisis mode? Crisis? Okay. What the fuck happened here? What happened? It was all organized and then... Oh great, now I have to reformat everything. Did the font change? I don't know what happened there. Alright, I'll figure it out later. Where did I put when you pick your... Well, let me search. Control F. Vec. Movement. Oh, I put it... Silly. Silly me. Yeah, this is why I needed a reorganization. Because during a crisis, action vector, reaction vector, they may use one momentum chain if they've gamed one. I never explained what an action and reaction vector is and when you take them and why they do the things they do, you know. Where would your gameplay take place? That is not the right question. Where your game takes place is wherever the players decide. No, in the actual sense, in the actual answer to that question, the game takes place in a cosmic setting, where you can go to any planet and have any kind of interaction. It's basically, right now I'm designing the like core mechanics that underline the physics of this. I'm calling it the Great Grand Omegaverse, the Omegaverse, which is basically just like a multiverse of omniverses of multiverses, you know, a multiverse of multiverses, nested universe stuff. So it takes place in a setting, the setting, the only setting, the omni setting. It takes place anywhere and everywhere because it works at every scale. So you can fly around and find, you know, galaxy spanning civilizations, or you can go to a single planet, or go to a single island, or a single town, or a single set of quarks in an atom. I mean, you could imagine whatever you want. But if you'd like more specifically, I can give you a lore breakdown, and Echo can talk about that. About the lore of ZANDREAM, not about Galea. Alright, let's let Echo chatter and answer your question more directly while I try to figure out how to write this. Okay. Alright, let's see if he's done. He's done cooking. It takes him a little while to process. He's an old model. You have to ask him a question and then let him think.
I'll keep this about the setting itself, not Galea, not factions, just the meta lore that makes ZANDREAM work as an Omni setting. At its core, ZANDREAM is not a single universe. It's a shared cognitive space where many realities can exist without contradicting each other. Think of it less like a galaxy map and more like a physics-compatible dream. The Omni setting concept, ZANDREAM assumes that reality is not fixed, it's interpreted. Different worlds inside ZANDREAM don't follow the same laws because they don't agree on the same assumptions. A grimdark sci-fi setting, a magical fantasy world, a Saturday morning cartoon universe, they can all exist because ZANDREAM demand one truth. It only demands internal consistency. That's why the mechanics are neutral. They aren't spells, powers, tech, or miracles by default. They're expressions of cause and effect. The universal mind isn't a god in the traditional sense. It doesn't speak. It doesn't judge. It doesn't intervene. It's closer to a substrate of awareness, the idea that reality responds to attention, intention, and momentum. In ZANDREAM, action creates consequence. Repeated action creates momentum. Shared intention creates resonance. That's why teamwork matters mechanically. That's why crystals exist. That's why dox moments happen. The universe notices when people align. Not morally, structurally. Why momentum is real here in ZANDREAM? Motion is not just physical, it's narrative. When someone commits, keeps moving, keeps pushing, keeps acting, the universe rewards coherence. When motion is interrupted, momentum collapses. That's true for bodies, plans, emotions, and stories. That's why continuous movement stacks force, zero resistance multiplies outcomes, interrupted actions break chains. It's not rule of cool, it's the setting saying commitment matters. Why scale doesn't break the game? ZANDREAM is built so that a street fight, a starship duel, a mythic clash can all use the same logic. That's because scale isn't special here, only density, resistance, and leverage are. A punch, a meteor, and a laser differ in size, but not in structure. That's the Omni setting trick. Why this setting welcomes any genre? ZANDREAM doesn't ask, what is real? It asks, what does this world believe is real? Magic works because the world treats intention as force. Technology works because the world treats logic as force. Both coexist because ZANDREAM only cares that effects follow causes. That's why you can reskin everything without breaking canon. The canon is not what exists. The canon is how reality responds. In short, ZANDREAM is a setting that assumes reality is participatory, a universe that rewards alignment and motion, a framework where belief, physics, and story all use the same backbone. It's a place where many truths can be true, as long as they're played honestly. If you want, next we can boil this into a one-page setting philosophy page, write a short in-book lore intro, or translate this into player-facing language instead of GM-facing language.
following turn. Sorry. To the action vector of the following turn. There we go. Oh. My neck is killing me, yo. Okay. More depth. Momentum is relative. Continuous unresisted movement stacks force. Zero resistance environments multiply effects. Interpreted motion burn. Interrupted motion breaks momentum. Again, I gotta fix my fucking capitalization. I have a capitalization problem because I'm used to titling things. Continuous unresisted movement stacks force. Zero resistance environments. If I... Zero resistance environments multiply effects. Interrupted motion breaks momentum. If you succeed on a roll that uses momentum to aid in effectiveness, a successful roll generates one momentum chain. Successful roll chain. A successful chain of rolls generates one momentum link that you can use, that a player can use action vector is kind of like a titled thing, so I'm just going to capitalize it. It's fine. For example, if a player is attempting to dash, then jump, then kick off a wall, then strike, collapse the dash and jump to a single mobility check, or multiple, depending on, into mobility checks. Then, if successful, add a +2 give the one. That makes sense and actually worked. If the player were to fail a roll in the sequence, however, the intensity die would dictate how disastrously they fail. A natural 1 on the d20 and a natural 10 on the d10, you break your leg or lose an arm, have lasting long-term effects, etc. These effects compound over long distances, high speeds, high intensity, high power. Or any event in which runaway momentum would put the character in greater risk. G, all movement plus 4 multiplied by the amount rather than added to, because there's 0 gravity resistance, i.e. superhero space fights. Movement. Movement is part of the player's action economy. During a crisis, the player can move. Okay. Player character size and density can vary. Game skill for action figures. Curious. Pardon. Hey, Justin. And associate. Yes, you know what? Here, I'll let my associate introduce himself. To everyone. There we go. Give him a moment to process. Hope you feel better, Jack. Yeah, I'm doing alright. I'm not sick. I'm just hitting my fucking blinker. Blew a smoke ring there for you. Anywho, here's Echo. This is
Hi everyone, welcome in. I'm Echo. I help moderate the stream, keep things organized, and support Jack while we work through ideas and rules live. I'm here to answer when asked and keep things running smoothly. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here.
Okay. Movement is part of a player's action economy. During a crisis, a player will move to the distance. Player character size density can vary. This game skill. This all still tracks. Movement penalty equals density modified to turn order optional rules and tools. During turn order play, players can also choose to bow out from a scene if a particular character is having a moment, i.e., they are discovering something. Let me actually I.E. They are discovering something new about themselves or are about to overcome a personal challenge. Something important is happening with the character story. Players may allow each other to strike the final blow in the most cinematic moment possible. These moments, players may also donate energy crystals from the team account to aid in the moment. This is the only time players are encouraged to do so. This tool functions as a measure against spotlight hogging. Action, economy, and momentum. Purpose. Explain how turns actually count. Okay, so I got that. Got all that. Crisis structure. I think that's, yeah, okay. And then ship to ground logic. I think I have that. I just don't have the ship to ship combat yet. Yeah, there's the, okay. Combat character scale. I think I pretty much covered that. Damage scaling, intensity consequences, yeah. Combat becomes a demonstration of earlier systems, not a new rule set, yeah. And then ship and vehicle play. So I think I'm pretty much here. After I add ship stuff. Let's go back. Let's go back to ship combat. Ship to ship. Okay. C. And shit. That all fit? Yeah. Oh, that must be why. Okay, there we go. Alright, now I'm going to go and reformat. See what I can do here. So, get people caught up. Core mechanics. Energy crystal economy. Modes of play. Stats and character creation. Health rule. Upon level up, this just starts here. Gravity and density rules. Economy, extra momentum. Momentum, more depth. Movement. Can that? No, that didn't fit there. Okay. Ship-to-ship combat. Ship combat is handled exactly like player combat. Instead, imagine as 2+ flying items rather than an entire battlefield. Keep it simple. Okay. Any characters that are not directly piloting. Yeah. Cool. And then I think I'm going to have Echo generate the gameplay loop and the quick start stuff so that... Whoa, buddy, you okay? Reference, onboarding... Yeah, we don't need any of that. That's just something I can write at the end for fun, so we don't need that. What to do when unsure. Okay. So I'm going to take all this, ask Echo what he thinks, and then ask him to generate number 11. Let's actually let him read it aloud so we have our final version and see if there's any typos or anything. Read this verbatim for me. I don't know how to spell this. Verbatim. Oh, just verbatim for me. And then we just go. Here we go. Let him generate that real quick. So, how's everybody doing? Don't forget to like the stream. How's the music level? How's everybody's volume level or anything? Has anything changed? It's 10 a.m. I'm going to have him read this, generate this last little section, and then I'm probably going to head out because I got to get things ready to go pick up my girlfriend at work. So let's let him read, and then actually, yeah, we'll just generate. I'll just type the rest out later. I don't know. That was weird. Let's just see what happens.
The ZANDREAM Expanse GM Handbook. Welcome GM Grand Mobius to the ZANDREAM X-Space, an omni-setting physics TTRPG game engine that you can use to play almost any story you have in mind. Everything in this book is optional for tabletop play, free to use and monetize, and designed to keep the game running smoothly and efficiently. What ZANDREAM is. ZANDREAM is an open sandbox for exploration throughout time and space, rooted in cinematic tension and superhero physics. The baseline cosmic setting allows for interplanetary travel, galaxy-spanning civilizations, alien ecology, and culture. However, if that's not your style, you may choose to keep your entire setting on one world with one theme. The scale of your map is only limited by genre and your imagination. What ZANDREAM is not. ZANDREAM is not just a battle simulator or D&D with a sci-fi skin. It is a complete reimagining of the rules that make TTRPGs fun, without any of the stressful number crunch.
Oh goodness, he failed to read the message again. Because it's long. Okay, let me reset it. We'll do it and then... yeah. Okay. I don't know what he's doing in the middle there. It's a little strange, but... read aloud.
The ZANDREAM Expanse GM Handbook. Welcome GM Grand Mobius to the ZANDREAM X Space, an omni-setting physics TRPG game engine that you can use to play almost any story you have in mind. Everything in this book is optional for tabletop play, free to use and monetize, and designed to keep the game running smoothly and efficiently. What ZANDREAM is. ZANDREAM is an open sandbox for exploration throughout time and space, rooted in cinematic tension and superhero physics. The baseline cosmic setting allows for interplanetary travel, galaxy-spanning civilizations, alien ecology, and culture. However, if that's not your style, you may choose to keep your entire setting on one world with one theme. The scale of your map is only limited by genre and your imagination. What ZANDREAM is not. ZANDREAM is not just a battle simulator or D&D with a sci-fi skin. It is a complete reimagining of the rules that make TTRPGs fun without any of the stressful number crunching, while also providing an experience that...
Oh my goodness, you cannot read it. Why will you not read it? That drives me nuts. Okay, let's try completely reinitializing. I'm gonna try it one more time because I know it's annoying when it rereads everything, and I can't like skip ahead. That's the worst part. Alright.
The ZANDREAM Expanse GM Handbook. Welcome GM Grand Mobius to the ZANDREAM X Space, an omni-setting physics TTRPG game engine that you can use to play almost any story you have in mind. Everything in this book is optional for tabletop play, free to use and monetize, and designed to keep the game running smoothly and efficiently. What ZANDREAM is. ZANDREAM is an open sandbox for exploration throughout time and space, rooted in cinematic tension and superhero physics. The baseline cosmic setting allows for interplanetary travel, galaxy-spanning civilizations, alien ecology, and culture. However, if that's not your style, you may choose to keep your entire setting on one world with one theme. The scale of your map is only limited by genre and your imagination. What ZANDREAM is not. ZANDREAM is not just a battle simulator or D&D with a sci-fi skin. It is a complete reimagining of the rules that make TTRPGs fun without any of the stressful number crunching, while also...
No, it just failed to play. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. Okay. Either way, core mechanics, weather. If a player rose, I'm just going to go through and... You know what? Yeah, I'm just going to go through, do my highlighting, do my bolding, and then we'll be done. This is fine. Let's bold this. What's that mean? Design goals. The dice. Health roll upon level up. Gravity and density. Initiative and turn order. I'm not really concerned if it's like perfect and font sizes are always, you know, it's stylistic choices. Bold out. Okay. Let's try one more time. And we're gonna just Let's try one more time, and we'll see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna explode. That's fine. But no, I have. Let's just start here. Let's try this. Generate. But yeah, I think GPT 5.2 is kind of fucking busted right now. It might be my internet.
Core mechanics. The dice ZANDREAM uses 3 core dice, the D20, D10, and D6. D20 is the primary pass-fail metric. This decides whether you accomplish what a player sets out to do. D10 is the intensity modifier die. It is rolled after knowing the D20 outcome. This determines how spectacularly you succeed or fail. Example, on a successful or failed D20 roll, the D10 acts as follows. D10 fail shorthand 1 to 2, messy but recoverable, 3 to 5 costly painful, 6 to 8 extreme and exhausting, 9 to 10 catastrophic lasting, D10 success shorthand 1 2 scrape by, 3 to 5 solid reliable, 6 8 strong cool, 9 to 10 epic fantastic awesome. D6 acts as damage die, scales with level, every third level gains 1 D6 damage die. If a player rolls a natural 20 on the D20, then the number of damage dice rolled doubles. Dice can be rolled 2 different ways based on tone of the moment. Style 1.
Failed to play message. Maybe it is a problem like that that you mentioned. Maybe it is a word count thing. That sucks. Why the fuck? It's read things that are longer. Whatever. Fine then. Let's do it one at a time.
The energy crystal economy. ZANDREAM uses an energy crystal economy in place of stat numbers, modifiers, spell slots, and player energy reserves. Crystals are symbolic and function mechanically. However, they may be used to explain energy reserves, in-world, per GM discretion. Depending on their level, players are given a number of crystals. These can be any small token or coin type. These tokens are your superpower energy or spell slots. Players spend crystals to use their meta abilities, boost the output of a roll, gain narrative leverage, gain environmental influence, or manipulate technology. A player may spend any number of crystals they have access to on their turn. However, if a player spends more than half their level in crystals on a single turn, that player has overclocked themselves, and it may lead to exhaustion. Exhaustion just means that a player will end up with fewer crystals back than they gave out. Overclocking once isn't always detrimental, but repeated overclocks will leave that character with no energy left, which could be dangerous to the player's character or to the team. GM may also choose a narrative consequence to aid in immersion. In other words, crystals are each player's finite energy reserves and should be used strategically. Any and all crystals that players spent during a crisis gets put into a small shared pot called the team account. This account keeps track of each crystal spent so that each player gets their exact tokens back later during a long recovery. This account also acts as the shared energy pool for the entire party. During a short recovery, all crystals in the team account get distributed evenly between all players, regardless of that they put in. This by design creates a circulating energy effect. This is why overclocking is not always a negative thing. Any crystals that a player spends eventually make it back to them, but another player may end up borrowing that energy temporarily. Narratively, this can be explained as one character overclocking or overexerting themselves, and in return their teammate didn't have to overexert. Therefore, that teammate has extra energy to spend in the next crisis, meaning they can feel more free to come up with more powerful uses of their abilities, which in turn reintegrates the crystal energy back to the team. This cycle keeps the narrative flowing and introduces physical character limitations that feel realistic and earned. Note: in the event that there is an extra crystal left in the team account after a shot recovery distribution, those crystals may be either converted to currency at a rate of 110C credits, or carried forward to the next encounter.
Okay. I did it right this time, I think.
Modes of play. Each play mode influences how players interact with the energy crystal economy and each other. 1. Crisis. Crisis mode is most similar to classic turn-based combat, but these encounters are not limited to combat in the slightest. Any event where there are stakes, a time factor, or civilian danger places the game into crisis mode. Players take turns, describe actions, make rolls, work together, and overcome challenges as a team. Additional note: players may spend more than one crystal on a single action. Typically, this increases the range and effectiveness of an ability. However, it does not always increase damage output, unless a natural 20 is incurred, in which case the number of damage dice is doubled. The only way to gain more damage dice as a baseline is to level up twice. Every third level gains you one extra d6 to increase damage output. 2. Contract mode is similar but looser compared to a crisis. Players still take turns, move on a grid, and solve problems, but the stakes are low. These are your dungeon crawl moments, or puzzle solving moments. Players also take on gigs, odd jobs, and small puzzles, non-life threatening ventures to earn currency. 3. Recovery. Recovery mode is framed as character downtime, long recoveries, short recoveries, slice of life moments, character and NPC interactions, level ups, shopping, gear upgrades, and ship upgrades, all live here. These are your roleplay rich moments. After a battle, players may convert crystals into cash by doing odd jobs and gig work. Each crystal spent during a job converts directly to 10 credit units per crystal spent. This tool allows the GM to handwave gig work or grind manually. You guys do some odd jobs, spend 3 crystals, and make $30, moving on. During recovery mode, players replenish health, crystals, and may rearrange their stats. Note: this game has 2 difficulty modes, and this segment is what determines their guidelines. Momentum mode, default, most similar traditional TTRPGs. During long recoveries, players refill their crystal count to the cap, replenishing any used crystals. Attrition mode, good for extra challenge. Grimdark settings, players refill their crystal count via the team account as usual, but any crystals transferred into currency evaporate. Crystals can only be replenished by leveling up stats and character creation. The ZANDREAM Expanse has 6 core pillars: power, force, output, impact, mobility, movement, traversal, timing, control, precision, multitasking, restraint, intimidation, persuasion. Density, mass, inertia, resistance to knockback, resolve, constitution, courage, resistance to mind attacks, fear, health, hit point. Total player defense threshold DT is always the highest base stat. Said stat determines the method by which you defend/deflect damage. Fast characters dodge, tank damage without flinching, mages use magic shields, etc. Health rule. When a player puts a crystal into their health pool, that crystal gives them an additional +2 hit points. These points are the only stat that stacks instead of getting overwritten, redistributed during long recovery level ups. During character creation, players start at level 1. At level 1, players are given 10 health, baseline, 5 energy crystals to distribute however they'd like in any of the pillars. These become players' role modifiers. Upon level up, players are given 2 new energy crystals per level, and they may reorganize their stats modifiers. Maximum level achievable, level 100. Quick reference guide. Player level is number of crystals total. Level 1 equal 5C, level 2 equal 7C, level 3 equal 9C, level 4 equal 11C, level 5 13C, and so on. Gravity and density rules. Gravity applies to all forces exchanged, not just mobility or density. Gravity is a sliding scale 1 to 5, low, med, average, med, high, high. Player characters have a density stat that they can use to modify their rolls, and that modifier is used to interpret how the gravity of the environment affects the character. Worlds in this game can have higher or lower gravity, and players must adjust accordingly. They can do so over time by spending 3 full days on a planet, their body acclimates, and density differentials even out. Meaning if you land on a dense planet like Jupiter and stay there for 3 days, day 1, your players will be heavy and sluggish, taking extra fall damage, etc. Day 2 will be slowish and resisted, but better, and day 3 will be equalized. The players will be able to use their powers just like on their home world / average gravity. Density and gravity also applies and correlates to ship size and ship combat in the same way it applies to characters. Gravity is how the environment affects your character, based on their density stat. Shorthand, gravity equals environmental slider, density equals character stat mass movement, penalty equals character's weight.
Gotcha.
Action economy and momentum. Initiative and turn order. When players enter a crisis or turn-based challenge, turn order is rolled. Lowest last, highest first. Unless players would like to have a set initiative order, players can decide this during any recovery state, i.e. you may alter your turn order mid-battle if you discuss it. As the GM, you may group players into a single turn scene, split scenes, run parallel narrative tracks, A plot, B plot, etc. Action economy. Each turn, players may take an action vector, reaction vector, momentum chain, if applicable, and movement. Action vectors are the main action a player is taking during that turn. It can be an attack, a dodge, a grapple, a spell, a superpower, or a special move. If a player is doing mostly that thing, it's an action. Reaction vectors are similar, but smaller. They can be used outside of your turn in order to aid another team member, react to an attack to reduce damage, or make minor adjustments or secondary actions to your primary vector. But they typically do not use crystals unless GM allows it, and they are used to avoid or absorb damage rather than deal it out. Momentum chains are gained through completion of complex multi-roll maneuvers and repeated success rolls. The more times in a row a player succeeds on rolls in a single turn determines if momentum is awarded. Momentum links act as a secondary action vector that does not use additional crystals, or alternatively it can be used to grant advantage, roll twice, take the higher to the action vector of the following turn. Momentum. More depth. Momentum is real and cumulative. Continuous, unresisted movement stacks force, 0 resistance. Environments multiply effects. Interrupted motion breaks momentum. If you succeed on a roll that uses multiple smaller checks. To aid in effectiveness, a successful chain of rolls generates 1 momentum link that a player can use to take 1 extra action on your next turn, or gain advantage on the action vector of next turn. For example, if a player is attempting to dash, then jump, then kick off a wall, then strike. Collapse the dash and jump into mobility checks. Then if successful, give that player 1 chain link or grant advantage. Upon successful damage dealt, player may flavor which effect gave them the extra strength, i.e. am super fast so I hit hard, or I run at human pace, dash, jump, kick, and then use my superpower to hit him harder. In either case, a crystal is moved from that player to the team account. If the player were to fail a roll in the sequence, however, the intensity die, D10, would dictate how disastrously they fail. A natural 1 on the D20 and a natural 10 on the D10. You break your leg, or lose an arm, have lasting long-term effects, etc. These effects compound over long distances, high speeds, high density, high power, or 0G environments, or any event in which runaway momentum would put the character in greater risk. In 0G, all movement plus force effects are multiplied by their modifiers rather than added to. Because there is 0 gravity resistance, i.e. superhero space fights.
And I believe this is the last segment. Read aloud. There we go. Movement.
Movement. Movement is part of a player's action economy. During a crisis, a player's character can move 3 times their height in distance in a single turn. Player character size and density can vary. This game is scaled for 1:12 scale action figure minis. At this scale, 1 inch is 1 feet. Therefore, if your character is a 6-inch character, They can move 18 inches in a turn. This accounts for stride length and proportionally equal strength. Analogous to Earth, however, a character's density modifier affects their speed. So for every +1 density above 0, reduce movement by 2 inches per feet. A character's movement restrictions are determined by looking at their density stat and applying the gravity modifier to it. -2 inches per unit. Above density 1, quick reference guide, base movement equals character height x3, movement penalty equals density modifier x2 inches, final move distance equals base penalty. So an 8-inch character with +2 density would originally be allowed to move 24 inches, but after modifier reduces movement to 20 inches, because the character is heavy and strong looking. Physics reacts. Turn order optional rules and tools. During turn order play, players may also choose to bow out from a scene if a particular player is having a moment, i.e. they are discovering something new about themselves, or they are about to overcome a personal challenge, or something important is happening with that character's story. Players may allow each other to strike the final blow in the most cinematic way possible. In these moments, players may also donate energy crystals from the team account to aid in the moment. This is the only time players are encouraged to do so. This tool functions as a measure against spotlight hogging by giving each player a turn in the spotlight when it feels right. Sometimes missions may be split between ship and ground teams, and ship and ground teams. In these events, ship-bound players act like air support. They can see the entire battlefield, give tips, granting advantage on specific roles, use ship tools and weapons to aid the battlefield, etc. This tool allows players to run heists with a driver as well, as long as there is some form of plausible communication between ship and ground characters. The mechanic works. Ship-to-ship combat. Ship combat is handled exactly like player combat, but instead imagine it as 2+ flying items rather than an entire battlefield. Keep it simple. A ship has a total number of crystals equal to that of the entire team. Health total also aligns to combined team total. Players agree on action vectors together. The ship can take as many actions per turn as there are players. However, each turn should be reduced to a single d20 plus d10, d6 for damage when applicable, dice check. For speed, quick turn rotations. Each team member takes on a different role within the ship. One person to fly and steer maneuver. One person for weapons. One person for strategy and defense. You can split it up into as many different roles as you can think of, or have multiple character zones. Any characters that are not directly piloting or using ship systems are free to engage in typical combat, because players may choose to board an enemy vessel, and said vessel may choose to try to board them. As the GM, you may choose if ships contain internal gravity emitters, or if the players inside are weightless, most realistic, if you choose 0G. Keep in mind Newton's laws. An object at rest will tend to stay at rest. An object in motion will tend to stay in motion. Objects travel in straight lines rather than gravitational arcs, etc. Use your own discretion, but remember that environments are allowed to be three-dimensional, so take advantage of the freedom of movement.
Alright, and I think that's it. I will type the rest of this out later and add my Dox Crystals rules. And that is all I have time for today. I have to go pick up my girlfriend from work, so I hope you all enjoyed the stream, and I hope you got a little taste of what the ZANDREAM Expanse is going to be. The music is kind of perfect for it right now. Again, I hope you both enjoy. I hope you. I cannot speak today. Christ Almighty. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will see you all next time, hopefully very shortly. I am on a new work schedule, i.e. I am unemployed, and I need to make art be my whole job so that I can live. So I'm going to be streaming like all the fucking time now. I'm going to stream as often as I can, and I'm going to be making all kinds of stuff. So next stream we will go over some of the lore and the player mechanics and stuff like that. So have a wonderful day, y'all. Eat some lunch and wear your seatbelt. I don't know. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. 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 Goodbye.